is the help video for Access Chapter 9. We're beginning at step 20. Let me get there. So remember, this chapter is all about setting up forms. So if we look at step 20, it says any form can be modified, whether it's created from one table or multiple tables. Often you will decide to add or delete a field after the form has been created. So the example we have, the form field was left off the add lessons form and needs to be added. So we need to figure out how to do that. So we want to open up the form add lesson in design view. So I'm going to right click design view, and I'm just going to close that out. So we see that the phone number was not included in this details section. So we want to add that. So we have to come up here to add existing fields. I'm on the design tab. It will bring up your field list from the underlying table, and we want to find phone. Where are we moving phone? Move the phone control below zip code. All right, so we're going to do phone. I'm just going to drag it and drop it. All right, apply a stacked layout to all of the fields located above the subform and change the control padding to narrow. All right, so let's see how we can do that. So if we go to the Arrange tab on the Form Design Tools, you'll see over here on the left we have stacked. So what I want to do is I want to select these objects and click on Stacked. It will then make everything the same size and aligned, but notice how it put all this space in here. So what we want to do is we want to narrow that padding. So we're going to come over here to control padding, and we're going to pick narrow and see how that. So then do you see how it squishes it all together, but everything's really nicely aligned. Let's go ahead and save the form, and we're done with step 20. That wasn't too bad. 21. Fields and other controls are placed on forms in either the order in which they are added, if you're using the wizard, or the order they appear in the source table. The tab order, or the order in which you move from one control to another when you press the tab key, is based on the initial location on the control form. Moving a control to a new spot does not change the order. So if I was to rearrange this, it's going to go to the subform before it goes up to phone number. So let me show you that before we move on. So I'm just going to change my view to form view, and I'm hitting the tab key. You see after zip code, it's going to skip phone number, and it's going to go down to this subform, right? And then it goes back up to phone number because phone number was added absolutely last. So we don't really want that to happen. In fact, I mean, we don't. So we want to change the order of the form, the tab order, by placing phone number after zip code. So I'm still on the design tab. I'm in design view, and I just want to pick tab order. And you'll see here we're in the detail section of the form, and here are the objects on that form that I can tab to. And do you see how phone is below the subform? I just want to move to the left and select phone. It's got the black behind it highlighted. Click, hold, and just drag that line and let go and rearrange it. We're going to go ahead and say OK. I'm going to save the form, and I'm going to test it. So now I go back to form view, and after I do zip code, it's going to go to phone number, and then it's going to go to the subform. So that's pretty cool. That was pretty simple. The hardest thing is just remembering where stuff is, right? And it's really one of these three things. So, okay. So we're done with 21. Let's look at 22. A calculated control is a control that uses an expression as the source of data rather than a field value. A calculated control may be the sum or account of a field or other expression value Access has available in the expression builder. Access provides the expression builder to help build the calculations similar to a wizard, and we've used the expression builder before. So we don't have to be so concerned with the exact syntax. All right, so this step here, open the subform in a new window, is kind of a weird thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to click that subform so it has the line around it, and then I want to do a right click. Oh, I didn't do it right. All right, guys, I went to design view because that's how I always do this. I have the subform selected, and then I'm going to right click on the orange line, and right here is subform in new window. So it's going to open up. See, my form add lesson is still open, and I have the subform opened. Add a 1-inch footer to the subform. So we're going to open up that form footer space. And remember, if we don't know exactly, we can go to Properties, click on this form footer, Format, and look at height. I wasn't even close, so 1 inch. All right. Add a 1-inch footer to the subform. Did that. Insert a text box control into the footer at the 1-inch horizontal rule. So we're gonna text box, right? 1 inch, and click. Use the control source builder to use the count function on the scheduled date field to count scheduled date. Okay, so if we go to data and we look at control source, it has nothing, right? So I'm in the property sheet for my unbound control, which means it's not attached to any field. And I'm in data, control source. I'm going to use the ellipses. It's going to bring up my expression builder. So we want to do the function, built-in functions, and math. Nope. Where is it? Hold on. Okay, so we want to take this unbound control and put a calculation on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the source control, and I'm going to zoom. And we've done this over and over. We're just doing it in a different place, right? So I'm going to do equal count parentheses, because count is a function. It needs a parentheses. And then what field are we counting? We are counting the field scheduled date. Square bracket and parentheses. So I'm looking right here. That is what we are counting. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Edit the name property. So we'll go back to all. And right now the name is text 6. We're going to call it lesson count. And then the label, which is right under it, where it says, you know, whatever that is, we're going to say lesson space count. What? Sorry, got to click on the label, Helen. Let me make sure I didn't mess up. So lesson count, label 7, text 6. We only care about the caption for that, so lesson count. So for the calculated field there, we made the name lesson count all together. We put the control in. If we come over to the label, we make that caption lesson space count. We're going to save this form, which is the subform, right? So we're done with 22. Barry wants a field that calculates total lesson fees. All right, so we're going to add another text box down here. A text box. We're going to drop it right there. Use the control sum. So we're going to go to data control source. I'm going to zoom. We're going to do equal sum parentheses square bracket fee is the field they want us to add up. Okay, we're going to go back to all. We're going to change the name of this calculated field object to fee total. We're going to select the label and make the caption fee total. Save the form again. I am going to make sure these are both at the 1 inch mark. So I'm just going to, let's just come here and do format, left, make that 1, come down to fee, left, make that 1. Oops. So they're both in that aligned at the 1 inch spot. Okay, save it and close it. And then when you get back to the main form, you're going to see that it looks kind of a mess. And that's because we changed this underlying form and Access needs to refresh it, right? So we can change the view, right? Change it back, and all that does is refresh it. So we are done with 23. 24. On a form with a subform, the footer of a subform is not visible, right? So if I look at this in form view, I don't see that form footer. But it's super important because the calculation is done. And what can happen then is I can bring those values forward and reference them on the main form, which is the whole point of it. Okay, so in the form view of form add lesson, add a text box control to the detail section of the main form below phone number. Okay, so we're going to do text box. Oops, that was wrong. 1 inch right there. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to reference the lesson count. So we're going to come here to data, control source, and then we're going to pick up the field. So I did the ellipses to get to the expression builder. So I'm going to find the lesson count. So I went into the expression elements and I picked the subform because that's where it resides. And we're doing lesson count. Double click. Okay. So let's just preview it. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many lessons Charles, right? All right, so edit the name property. Okay, so use the control source builder to reference. Okay, we did that. Edit the name property to be lesson count. So let's go back here. Name, lesson count. And then we're going to edit this. The label to be lesson space count as the caption. Okay. Resize if necessary. Okay. Add another text box to the right. about the 4-inch mark. So we're going to go here and click. So once we have the text box in, then we need to set up the properties for it. So I have my property sheet. I'm going to open this up just a tiny bit. So my control source here, I'm going to do the ellipses, and I'm going to open up the form add, and I'm going to open up the lesson subform, and I'm going to scroll down and find fee total. Let's just verify. Fee total. Okay. I'll double click on that. Okay. We're going to go back to all, and we're going to change the name of this field to be total fees. That's for the label. That's for the text box. The label caption is going to be total space fees. And then we're just going to size that. And I'm going to close out of that for now. So we're done with 24. I'm going to save it. And I think I'm going to stop the movie at this point. We'll pick up at step 25. All right, thank you.